In the vast tapestry of human existence, perhaps no mystery remains as persistently elusive as the understanding of our own nature and the nature of those around us. We walk through life believing we know ourselves, confident in our self-assessments, certain of our motivations and desires. Yet this confidence is often nothing more than a comfortable illusion, a veil drawn across the deeper truths that lie beneath the surface of our conscious awareness. The great spiritual teacher Paramahansa Yogananda understood this fundamental human predicament with profound clarity, recognizing that our failure to truly know ourselves and others stems not from a lack of intelligence or effort, but from far more subtle and pervasive obstacles that cloud the mirror of self-awareness. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, give me a like, comment below about your thought and hit subscribe button so you don't miss any video inspired by Yogananda's teaching. Thank you very much. The first and perhaps most formidable barrier to self-knowledge is the restless nature of the mind itself. Like a turbulent ocean whose surface is constantly disturbed by waves, the human mind rarely achieves the stillness necessary for true reflection. We are perpetually caught in streams of thought, cascading from one mental impression to another, driven by desires, fears, memories, and anticipations. In this state of constant mental agitation, we cannot see ourselves clearly because we are always looking through the distorting lens of our own mental turbulence. Yogananda taught that the mind, when undisciplined, becomes our greatest deceiver, creating elaborate narratives about who we are that have little connection to our true nature. We mistake these mental constructions for reality, confusing the stories we tell ourselves with the actual substance of our being. This mental restlessness is compounded by the tyranny of the ego, that false sense of separate self that insists on its own importance and distinctness from all else. The ego is a master of disguise, constantly working to protect and enhance its own image. It filters every experience through the lens of self-interest, interpreting events not as they truly are but as they relate to its own preservation and aggrandizement. When we attempt to know ourselves, the ego immediately steps in to present a carefully curated version of who we are, highlighting our virtues while concealing or rationalizing our flaws. This is not a conscious deception but an automatic function of the ego's nature. It cannot help but distort reality because distortion is its very essence. The ego creates a false self-image that we then mistake for our true identity, and in doing so, it ensures that genuine self-knowledge remains perpetually out of reach. Our identification with the physical body and its sensations creates another profound obstacle to self-understanding. From our earliest moments of consciousness, we learn to identify ourselves with this physical form, with its needs, its pleasures, and its pains. We say, "I am hungry," or "I am tired," completely identifying our essential being with the temporary states of the body. This body consciousness becomes so deeply ingrained that we forget we are anything more than flesh and bone, nerves and blood. Yogananda emphasized that this identification with the physical form is perhaps the most fundamental error in human consciousness. The body is merely a vehicle, a temporary dwelling place for consciousness, yet we mistake it for our true self. This confusion prevents us from recognizing our deeper spiritual nature, the eternal consciousness that exists beyond the limitations of physical form. When we believe ourselves to be merely bodies, we cannot know our true selves because we are looking in entirely the wrong place. The conditioning we receive from society, culture, and family further obscures our self-knowledge. From the moment we enter the world, we are shaped by the expectations, beliefs, and values of those around us. We are told who we should be, what we should want, how we should behave. These external influences become internalized, forming layers of conditioning that cover our authentic nature like sediment accumulating on the ocean floor. We adopt beliefs and behaviors not because they reflect our true nature but because they have been impressed upon us by our environment. Over time, we lose touch with our original self, buried beneath years of accumulated conditioning. When we attempt to know ourselves, we encounter only these layers of learned behavior and adopted beliefs, mistaking them for our genuine identity. We become strangers to ourselves, living lives that reflect the expectations of others rather than the truth of our own being. The constant outward direction of our attention represents another significant barrier to self-knowledge. Human consciousness naturally flows outward through the senses, seeking engagement with the external world. We are fascinated by sights, sounds, tastes, textures, and smells. We become absorbed in external activities, relationships, and pursuits. This outward flow of attention is so constant and compelling that we rarely turn our awareness inward to examine the source of consciousness itself. Yogananda taught that true self-knowledge requires a reversal of this natural tendency, a deliberate turning of attention away from external phenomena and toward the inner realm of consciousness. Yet this inward turn feels unnatural and difficult because it goes against the grain of our habitual patterns. We are like people who spend their entire lives looking through windows at the world outside, never thinking to turn around and examine the room in which they stand. Our failure to know others stems from many of these same obstacles, compounded by the additional challenge of attempting to understand a consciousness separate from our own. When we look at another person, we inevitably see them through the filter of our own perceptions, prejudices, and projections. We interpret their words and actions based on our own experiences and assumptions, rarely considering that their inner world might be fundamentally different from our own. We project onto others our own motivations, fears, and desires, assuming that they think and feel as we do. This projection creates a distorted image of the other person, a mental construct that may bear little resemblance to their actual nature. We then relate to this construct rather than to the real person, creating relationships built on misunderstanding and false assumptions. The tendency to judge others based on superficial appearances and behaviors prevents us from seeing their deeper nature. We observe someone's actions and immediately form conclusions about their character, their intentions, their worth. Yet actions are merely the surface manifestation of complex inner processes that we cannot directly perceive. A harsh word might spring from deep pain, a cold demeanor might mask profound sensitivity, apparent confidence might conceal desperate insecurity. Yogananda understood that every human being contains multitudes, that the outer personality is merely a mask worn by the deeper self. To truly know another person requires looking beyond the mask, beyond the surface behaviors and presentations, to the consciousness that lies beneath. Yet this deeper seeing requires a quality of attention and compassion that most of us rarely cultivate. Our own emotional reactivity creates another barrier to understanding others. When someone's words or actions trigger our own fears, insecurities, or desires, we lose the capacity for clear perception. We become caught in our own emotional response, unable to see the other person with any objectivity. Our judgment becomes clouded by anger, fear, attraction, or aversion. In this state of emotional reactivity, we cannot know the other person because we are too busy defending ourselves, asserting our own position, or pursuing our own agenda. True understanding requires a certain emotional neutrality, a capacity to observe without being swept away by our own reactions. Yet this neutrality is difficult to achieve because it requires a level of self-mastery that comes only through dedicated inner work. The fundamental sense of separation that characterizes ordinary human consciousness makes genuine knowledge of others nearly impossible. We experience ourselves as isolated individuals, separate from all other beings. This sense of separation creates an unbridgeable gap between self and other, a chasm that no amount of communication or interaction can fully cross. We remain locked within our own subjective experience, unable to directly access the inner life of another person. Yogananda taught that this sense of separation is itself an illusion, that at the deepest level of consciousness, all beings are united in one universal awareness. Yet as long as we remain identified with the separate ego self, this unity remains hidden from us. We cannot truly know another person because we do not recognize our fundamental oneness with them. The solution to these obstacles, according to Yogananda's teachings, lies in the cultivation of inner stillness and the expansion of consciousness beyond its ordinary limitations. Through meditation and spiritual practice, the restless mind can be calmed, allowing the clear mirror of self-awareness to emerge. As the mind becomes still, we begin to see ourselves as we truly are, not as we imagine ourselves to be or as we wish to be, but in our essential nature. This seeing is not an intellectual understanding but a direct perception, an immediate knowing that transcends thought and concept. In this state of inner clarity, the false identifications fall away, the layers of conditioning become transparent, and we recognize our true nature as pure consciousness, eternal and unchanging. This same expansion of consciousness that enables self-knowledge also makes possible genuine understanding of others. As we transcend the limitations of the separate ego, we begin to recognize the same consciousness in others that we have discovered in ourselves. We see beyond the surface differences of personality and behavior to the shared essence that unites all beings. This recognition brings with it a natural compassion and understanding, for we realize that the struggles and sufferings of others are not fundamentally different from our own. We cease to judge and condemn because we understand that all human beings are engaged in the same essential journey, seeking happiness and fulfillment while struggling with the same basic obstacles and limitations. The path to knowing ourselves and others is thus ultimately a spiritual path, requiring not merely intellectual effort but a fundamental transformation of consciousness. It demands patience, dedication, and a willingness to look honestly at aspects of ourselves that we might prefer to ignore. It requires the courage to question our most basic assumptions about who we are and the humility to recognize how little we truly know. Yet this path, though challenging, leads to the most profound fulfillment available to human beings, the direct knowledge of our own true nature and the recognition of that same nature in all beings. In this knowledge lies the end of isolation, the resolution of conflict, and the discovery of the love and unity that have always existed beneath the surface of apparent separation.